Welcome back to another episode of Consciously Clueless. I'm your host, Carly, and I'll be your guide on this journey from consciousness to cluelessness and back around again. Thanks for joining me for a Sunday solo episode. Whether it's Sunday night and you're gearing up for your week, Monday morning and you're on your way to work, or whatever day this podcast has found you, I'm really glad you're here. This podcast is supported by showThanks. Thinks are washable, reusable period underwear. They look and feel just like normal underwear, but better. Every pair of Thinks is made with their signature innovative technology for the ultimate period protection. Their breathable products are safely made with cotton, nylon, and elastin for a little stretch. I am seriously obsessed with my Thinks underwear. They have changed my periods. Try them yourself or get someone the best gift ever with a sweet little discount code. Go to showthanks.com/Carly for $10 off your order today. Again, that's showthanks.com/CARLY for $10 off your order. Try Thanks today. All right, if you hang out in the Consciously Carly world at all, i.e. newsletter, social media, listen to the podcast, well, first of all, thank you if you do those things. But second of all, you'll know that a couple months ago I announced that I was writing a book. And you will probably also have noticed that I have not talked about it one single time since making that announcement. Because as soon as I made the announcement that I was writing a book, I felt like all inspiration drained from my body, and I didn't think it was going to happen. Because for some reason, that declaration, after that point, I didn't know what to do. I've had an outline in my head. I've done little mock-ups in journals of books that I want to write before, and I finally said, okay, I think this is the idea I'm moving forward with, and I made that decision. And then nothing. And inspiration was gone. I have been determined to be a published author since I was very little. Like very little. And I was worried that I had kind of screwed up by sharing that with the world. But I did some deep meditation sessions this weekend. And I had this moment where everything made sense. What was happening was that I was trying to write 2 different books simultaneously and fit it into one book. So the announcement is that I think I'm writing 2 books now. So, I think I'm going to write 2 books instead of 1. And let me explain. The first book that I set out to write is the lessons from the first year of the podcast. I've had so many amazing guests, talked about so many different topics that I wanted to kind of compile that and have it in one place and say, here are lessons from year 1. And then have it be helpful and useful and give tangible steps on how to, let's say it's about being vegan, how to move forward with that. What does that look like? Maybe it's about living more sustainably. Where do you start? And I wanted it to be really interactive in that way, to be helpful and to be a melting pot of all the amazing advice and information I've gotten from the last year of podcasting and the guests and all those topics about trying to live a little bit more conscious and a little less clueless. So I also was trying to cram in this other idea that I've also wanted to, or weave in, is what I thought I would be doing, but really what I was doing was trying to cram it in. I write short stories and poems all the time. I mean, really all the time. It's how I process through things. It's how I make sense of things. And I never share that. I never share those with anybody, truly. Barely with anybody in my life have I shared any of that work with. And I've always loved doing that and always thought I would share that someday. So I was kind of trying to weave in these really deeply personal narratives and short stories into this book about living a more conscious life, which they totally do connect and go hand in hand, but the delivery is different. And so I needed to separate them. I needed to make this book, I'm imagining kind of an ebook of all the podcast information and guests and quotes and links to go right to the episode. And then this other book that I see being printed is one where I kind of bare my soul a little bit and share all these things that I haven't really shared. And that is a little nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie, but mostly exciting because I'm proud of that work and I don't share it. And this is the really kind of corny cliche thing, but it's so true when you're creating any type of art. And for me, writing is how I feel artistic, is that if one person reads something I wrote and they feel better because of it, or make sense of something because of it, or smile because of it, or whatever, that'll be worth it. And so I think it's time to share all of that stuff too. And I'm really excited. I'm like really, really excited, even though it's more daunting. I'm really excited because it seems clear again. And that means that I get to finally start sharing some of the early writing and some of the behind the scenes stuff with you on Patreon. So if you are a patron, you are going to be kind of getting some bonus writings, and maybe you can give some feedback. You can see the table of contents, see what's coming down the pipe. You're going to get some of that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, patreon.com/consciouslycarly is a platform for me to share more with you all that is exclusive to different tiers on Patreon, and you get to decide which one works for you. There's more over there. There's yoga videos, there's meditations, there's health coaching stuff, there's a lot. But also, you are going to be getting this. So if that sounds of interest to you, or you kind of want to know the behind the scenes and see early stuff, definitely head over to Patreon and check it out. If not, you will just have to be patient and see if I can get these 2 books to totally make sense and be released into the world. Right? That'll happen. We can do it. I can totally do it. Thanks for listening to another episode of Consciously Clueless. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe wherever you're listening. If that's somewhere like Apple Podcasts, leave a review and you could be read on air as the review of the week. Looking for more podcast content, yoga videos, meditations, and all-around amazing community? Head over to patreon.com/consciouslycarly and check out what's going on. And finally, if you are ready to make changes in your life but don't really know where to begin, let's work together. Head over to consciouslycarly.com and we can start the process and get you happy. Until next time.